Christine Platt is here to chat about her new book, Less is Liberation, and why less may be the path to greater freedom. Let's jump right in. Christine,
Hey.
welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here. This is a joy. It's always a joy seeing you.
Well, my first question for you, kind of to prompt our conversation, is what's bringing you joy
Oh, look at that.
or grounding you lately?
Man, I think, one of the things that is really bringing me joy is for the first time in my life, I have a regulated nervous system. And
Mm.
I never had one before. And so, now that I know what that feels like, I mean, it is so joyful to not be so anxious, to have my body not always reacting to what is happening around me, especially because there's so many things we can't control. And it just, I mean, it brings me so much joy, and I'm so grounded. And it's something that I just want everyone to experience because it has truly been life changing and transforming for me.
Wow. I mean, we could do a whole conversation on your journey to a regulated nervous system,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
It's work, man. It's work, and I think, we hear all the time, like, do the work, do the work, do the work, but no one ever really told us what the work actually is. And it really is. I mean, it was hard, right? And it's usually something that thrust us into it. And for me, that was a health scare. And really it caused me to like get to the root of like, what is my overwhelm and why do I react this way? Why do I respond this way? Right. And so it's almost like an excavation of all the things that we bury, that make us who we are, that contribute to a lot of our behavior, our thoughts. And I mean, it was rough work, but it's the most beautiful and most rewarding work I've ever done.
I love the word excavating. Like it's like a deep digging, a deep dive to get
Oh
to the
yeah.
root of like what's really causing the manifestation of my stress,
Yeah.
and doing that work. And I also am what's coming to me in this moment. I mean, we're just at the top of this this episode and we're going for it, listeners. We're just here we are. But it just brings to mind the importance of like really practicing, having everyday practices, everyday rituals to help keep you grounded, centered, really moving stress out of your body um, every single day. Because when we go outside, we're going to experience, even inside,
Mhm. Oh
right? There are
yeah.
things that happen that cause stress, and
Yeah.
having rituals and practices to every day that help move that stress out of my body, that
Essential.
aid in my grounding is
Yeah.
so important and so imperative. I mean, I literally shout this from the rooftops is what Exhale is all about. And my work is like, take care of yourself, take care of your mental health
Yeah.
every day,
I mean,
not just in crisis.
not to like promo the app or anything, but like truly, I mean, I'm on the app and I think we don't realize how just like these small moments, right? I think like a lot of people don't prioritize their wellness and well-being because it's been commodified in such a way that it looks like it's going to take so much money and it's going to take so much work. You know what I mean? For me to get well, forget it.
Totally.
I'll just have a drink, right?
Mhm.
And I think, and I tell people about the app all the time because just the breathing
That's right.
exercises, right? Like if you do nothing else but learn how to breathe, you can lower your blood pressure. You can lower your stress, right? So there's all these tools that are available and accessible to us that aren't 2,000,000, $3,000,000, right? Like, I feel like so many people don't focus on their wellness because at least from appearances on what is, what's shown on social media, what's shown on Pinterest. They're like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to be in the gym. I'm gonna have to eat, only, organic chicken and asparagus 3 days." You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
we are unfortunately indoctrinated with a lot of things that just aren't true about what it takes to be well. Yes, those things help, right? But truly, intuitively, we know how to be well. I think that was the thing that shocked me the most. I was
Mm.
working with an integrative health doctor, and I had been diagnosed with high blood pressure from stress, and it freaked me out because I felt totally fine. And I was like literally on the cusp of a hypertensive crisis when I went to see my doctor. And so that's what started my wellness journey. And I have a wonderful integrative health doctor. I talk about her in my book, Dr. G. And I remember her saying to me, Christine, wellness is our body's default.
Mm.
Our bodies are always, always, always trying to be well. We just have to learn to listen, right? We have to work exceptionally hard for our bodies not to be well. So knowing that wellness is my body's default was
Wow.
like, yeah, yeah. Intuitively, we know what to do,
We
right?
know what to do.
We know what to do, but it's unfortunately all of those things that we haven't excavated, right? That cause us to do the opposite of what our bodies are telling us to do. We feel like we need to go to bed and get some rest. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I could barely keep my eyes
Pushing.
open. Yep.
Mhm. We
But
keep it pushing. Instead of
yeah,
listening to our bodies,
instead
we
of
want to go
listening,
to
we're like, I
bed.
gotta push through,
Yeah.
if I don't get it done, right? And so part of that excavation is really getting to those limiting beliefs around why we can't care for ourselves, right? And I know it sounds so wild. Like I think of some of the things I used to say, Katara, like, I don't have time to eat, right? Like, what? Right? But those limiting beliefs get so rooted and grounded in who we are, in our identities, and how we produce our work, how people see us, that all of a sudden we listen to that as opposed to that intuitive wisdom, that indigenous wisdom that is like, girl, just go to bed. Girl, take a deep breath. Our bodies are telling us. Isn't it wild?
And it seems so simple, but, oppressive systems have, done its job, especially
Yeah.
on Black women, to cause us to be disembodied. We are
Yeah.
not practicing embodiment because it hasn't been safe always to be in
Yeah.
bodies, right? And
Yeah.
and a part of that, not being embodied is we're not hearing or listening to our bodies,
I
right?
I I had not heard my body in a long time, right? And so what happens is, eventually it's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to really get her attention," right? We've been telling her to go to bed. We've been telling her to rest. We've been telling her to eat well, right? Like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna have to pull the rug out from under her feet to get her attention," right? And so you often find that's what happens. Someone started their journey because of some health scare. And here's the thing, those of us that get that opportunity are really lucky, right? Some
Mm,
people aren't that lucky,
that's right.
right? I mean, I just happened to have a doctor's appointment that day. But that day, it would have taken one thing, and I would have been in the
Ooh,
hospital.
girl.
Isn't that wild? And I
Wow.
felt fine. I mean, they're like, "Did you drive to this appointment? How do you feel right now?" And I'm like, "I feel fine." Now, I can look back at that version of me and I'm like, "Girl,
I
you were
did
not
not.
fine." But in the moment, I felt
Yeah.
fine, and that is because and I think this is the case for so many of us, overwhelm had become my baseline. That was my baseline.
That's right.
So, of course, I felt fine. What do you mean?
That's right.
I was one moment away from being in the ER.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm. And don't like, we think you have to look a certain like, everything is so associated with weight and it's like, it has nothing. I looked like the picture of perfect health on the
Totally.
outside, but on the inside, I was weathered as many Black women are beyond belief.
That's right. Wow. Ooh, well, first of all, I'm so glad that you had that doctor's appointment and
Me
that
too.
you,
Thank
that
you.
it really propelled this journey of this excavating and becoming more healthy, listening to your body, returning to your body, um, putting your ear to her because she was screaming at you, right? And
Screaming.
listening to you.
Yeah.
What a beautiful, way to just even open up this episode, and for those of you that are listening, you are in for a treat today. Christine is such a phenomenal human, and, I'd like for you, Christine, to take a few moments and, tell, our listeners who you are, what you're about, maybe a little bit about your journey to what got you here, where
Yeah,
you are now.
it's so interesting, thinking about the answer to that question after the conversation that we just had. I think there's a version of me that would have said, "I'm Christine, former lawyer, blah, 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 blah," you know what I mean? And you just start rattling down this list of titles and things or whatever, right? But I think, in this season, I'm Christine Platt. I am a woman who is on the verge of turning 50. I'm very excited. I turned 50 in December. I have been blessed to have found my calling after working in many different careers. And I'm a storyteller. So I write books for adults. I used to write for adults and children. I had to reduce that overwhelm. And so, yeah, I'm just in this beautiful season of really discovering who I am without all those identities, right? And even
Mm,
even the identity of like mother. My daughter is about to turn 23, so I'm an empty nester. She's in her senior year at college, and man, for so long, even motherhood was this identity that was all consuming. I mean, there were people that didn't even know my name. I was just Nala's mom. Hey, Nala's mom. Right. And so just thinking through, like, I love that question, like, who are you? And, who are you beyond all the things that you've accomplished, all the titles, all the things. And I think I am just this woman who is in a really beautiful season of life and becoming um, who I was always meant to be.
mm, beautiful. Well, I turned 50 3 years ago. I just want to let you know that the waters are fine, honey.
I
It's
heard it
warm. The
is.
waters are warm over here.
I heard it is a beautiful season. I am really excited about it, and I think a big part of that is if you are blessed to reach 50 and grow older, there is this part of you that looks you can we're in this sweet spot where we can look back and also still look ahead, you know? Like, life does not end at 50. I think when you're 20, in your 20s, I know at least when I was in my 20s, like 50 sounded ancient, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm thinking I'm gonna be in a home." Right? And exactly. And I look at myself, my friends. I have friends in all stages of life, which I think is also very important. My oldest friend is 73. And like, man, it just seems like it just keeps getting better and better and better. And so much of that is you know yourself, right? Like, I know myself in a way that I didn't in my 20s, that I didn't in my 30s, that started becoming in my 40s. Um, but man, I'm so excited for this next decade. I am so excited.
Oh, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you. We'll have a big welcoming party when you turn 50. Welcome to
I'm ready.
the welcome to the club.
I'm ready.
Well, tell us a little bit about your most recent book. I mean,
Yeah.
Less is Liberation. I think you have it
Yes,
with you. Do you wanna
I
launch
always have
it?
it with me.
Let's see it.
Yes.
Let's
Less is liberation, finding freedom from a life of overwhelm. And this book, it's so funny. So it followed the Afro Minimalist Guide to Living with Less, which was about letting go of things that no longer served us. And I felt so, oh man, I can't explain how it felt, right? I feel like we use liberation just a lot as a word without, like, really framing what that means. So, it was liberating in a sense that I no longer felt so attached to things. I no longer felt like I had to have certain things, like things had to look a certain way. It was just a very liberating way to
Hmm.
live within my home. And it made me wonder, how would it look if I lived that way in every area of my life? If I was intentional in every area of my life. And so that's what Less is Liberation was supposed to be about. But Spirit had other plans. And one of those plans was, hey, let's give her high blood pressure. Right? Like, so my body reacts when I'm in the midst of writing this book. And all of a sudden, I'm able to see the interconnectedness between our overwhelm and our overall well being. So I have to reach
Mhm.
out to the publisher and I have to say, so about this book that I'm writing, we need to change a few things. Would you be open
Mm.
to that? And luckily, the team at Hachette at GCP Balance, they were great. And we embarked on this journey of having this book talk about the very thing that we were talking about earlier, which was really getting to the root of our overwhelm, understanding the causes, understanding what overwhelm actually even is. Cause I feel like it's another word like liberation, right? We're just like, I'm so overwhelmed. There was a time when you would have said that to your doctor and they would have been like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's stop. Like, let's talk," right? And now I feel like we're at a place where our doctors are like, "I know, me too," right? Like, "I'm so
Yeah,
overwhelmed," right?
same.
Like,
Yeah.
we don't really understand the magnitude of that word, and I think that's how it becomes our baseline. So, Less is Liberation really guides readers through the practice of that excavation that we were talking about, right? And the way I framed it around the five foundations of wellness, which is what my integrative health doctor taught me, which was to look at these five core areas of our health: our physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual. And spiritual is less about, like a religious practice. I mean, obviously, if you have one, that is, an important part of that. But it's also about like your purpose. Do you feel like you're doing meaningful work in the world? Do you feel like your contributions are meaningful? That's a part of our spiritual health. And so I framed it around, I started calling them my personal wells because once she told me about the five foundations, but she actually told me I was unwell. And that's what hurt my feelings. And I was like, I don't have high blood pressure, but girl, I'm not unwell. Like, that's a lot, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so she explained, here's how we assess your wellness. And if any one of those 5 core areas is compromised, we deem a patient unwell. And I was like, okay, I am unwell. What are we going to do about it? Right. And so I started to think of them as my personal wells, right? What is filling me up and what is draining me, right? And so our physical well, that's like moving our bodies, getting rest, drinking water, eating nutritious foods, right? And Dr. G was the one that told me, she's like, Christine, I need you to move your body throughout the day, not once a day, you
Mm,
know? So like those kinds of little just you would be so surprised at the small things that are draining our wells, right? And so I just walk through each personal well and really guide readers through the practice of how to do this self-assessment at any time, right? And
mm,
I think that's part of the challenge when you were talking. I love what you said earlier about how we are so not embodied. And I think a big part of that is that we don't have a self-assessment tool or
mm.
embodiment. It has been outsourced, right? It's like, I have to go to the doctor to find out if I'm well. No, you can sit in your bed. You can look at your calendar. You can listen to your body and know whether you're well or not.
That is so good. That is literally a rewiring
It
of the way
is.
we think
It is.
about
It is.
assessing our health or unhealth, that we need an outside person, resource to tell us. And you're saying, I mean, I am literally like in my own mind, I'm like, oh, wait, that is an unlearning and a relearning that is happening for me in real
Yeah.
time as you're saying this. Wow.
Same. It was same. I was like, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying you have a bruise, like there are certain things. Yeah, you need to go see a medical professional, right? But from day to day, moment to moment, we have the natural intuitive tools to assess whether we're well. We do,
It's so good. That's so good.
right? Like I can sit here and say, man, I did not drink enough water. Hmm. That physical well is being depleted. Let me get up and have some water, right? I can say, man, I really felt like crying earlier. That meeting was so intense. It was so crazy, but I sucked it in. I know that I did not emote, right? And when I can make that correlation between how that is affecting my emotional health and my emotional wellness, I can go in the room and cry. I can pick up the phone, I can call a girlfriend, I can let it out, right? Those are the things I'm talking about, those everyday moments that are contributing to so much of our society being unwell. We have the tools and resources within ourselves to fix that.
And I don't know about you, but growing up, my mom, she's 83, love her to death. So much love in our home, so much goodness in our home. She's the best.
Mhm.
And when I remember being a little girl and I'd start crying and sometimes she'd say, "Well, what you crying for?
Yeah.
What are you crying
Yeah.
for? Suck it up.
Yep.
Hush it up. Stop
Yeah.
crying." And I know that part of that was for our own, she was trying to protect us when we were outside of her home, right? You can't
Mhm.
always be that
Yeah, you
vulnerable and
can't just be out here crying, girl. Yeah, but it
but
does a number
it
on us.
trains us to
Those are the limiting beliefs, right? And so part of that excavation is digging down and saying, why don't I cry when I feel like I need to cry? and you dig and you dig and you dig. And then you get to yourself as a little girl, remembering your grandmother saying that. And maybe it was something that was like really painful, really hurtful. You felt justified in crying, and someone who you love and admire. Actually, I so love that you use that as an example because once I started to understand limiting beliefs, and I'm going to go back to that, but I think it's like the perfect explanation of a limiting belief and how they form. I struggled with believing that I would have a limiting belief about myself, right? I'm like, I don't understand. I'm reading all the pop science definitions, and I'm just like, that does not apply to me. Like, I don't understand. And so I had to get to a working definition that made sense to me. And a limiting belief forms whenever a messenger gives us the wrong message. And I talk about this in the book because we don't have, and no one teaches us this, right? It's just like, oh, that's a limiting belief you have about yourself. And you're like, what? I don't have any limiting beliefs about, that definition though, when a messenger gives us the wrong message, it can be any person who we love, admire, respect, want to please, want to impress. It can
Sure.
be an institution, right? Like some of the conversations that I've had with people and organizations, sometimes the messenger can be a parochial school that we went to. Sometimes the messenger could be the church that we grew up in, right? Like it's the messenger can be anything and anyone. And a lot of these limiting beliefs form in mostly in childhood, but I think it's important to know like limiting beliefs can form at any point in our life. And I think that's why that working definition is like, okay, anytime a messenger gives me the wrong message, right? And so in this instance, your grandmother was the messenger, right? You loved her, you knew she loved you, respect, admired, you want to make her happy, you value every word that comes out of her mouth, and she gave you the wrong message. And you did also point to something that I think is very important, which is that oftentimes the wrong messages that we receive were not done intentionally, right? Like, oftentimes, the messengers who gave us these wrong messages really thought they were helping us. They
Yeah.
really thought, this is, I want to protect you. I want to save you. I want you to be able to move through this world in a certain way. And so here's the message, but it's the wrong message. And we grow up with that internalized wrong message, and it ends up influencing our decisions and our behaviors throughout our lifetime. Isn't that wild?
That wild. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as a coach, I coach, certified coach, I coach Black women, and we talk about limiting beliefs, where do those come from, and how to kind of unravel or, break that loose because they root down,
Yeah.
and then we think that that's the truth when
Yeah.
it's not. It's just
It's
simply
not.
not true about us or not true about right? And we have to get like you talked about that excavating, like you have to drill down to be able to pull that up.
Gotta pull it
Yeah.
up. And some people will say too, like, I mean, no, I had an idyllic childhood and no one ever told me anything. And I'm like, well, there are generational limiting beliefs, right? There are things that society were projecting onto us all the time. And I talk about those in the book as well because I think it's important to know all the different ways we were fed these wrong messages so we can get to the excavation, right? But like I was a latchkey kid. And, that I grew up, I mean, you're hyper independent at 8, right? And so depending on when you were born, there are limiting beliefs that
That's
were
right.
just rampant in your generation, and in your upbringing, in those impressionable years that have made you form so many limiting beliefs about yourself that are in like total contradiction to your wellness, right? If I
Yeah.
grow up believing I have to be hyper independent, I can't ask anyone for help, I guarantee you my mental, emotional, and social wells are constantly being drained,
Plead it. Yeah.
depleted, right? If I grew up believing you can sleep when you die, and all those kinds of things, right? It's like, girl, that physical well is dry, right? And so
Hello.
I think it's so important. And I want to preface, what I said earlier, like, yes, it was incredibly hard work for me. And it's going to be incredibly hard work for a lot of people because a lot of these wrong messages and the limiting beliefs that they form actually make us successful. This is where we struggle. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to get into it, like, let's get into it. This is where we struggle, right? Like, okay, this was the wrong message. I'm going to work all night because I can sleep when I'm dead. And it's made me wildly successful. Look at these awards. Look at this. Look at what I've gotten. But my body is telling me, girl, we are not well.
That's right.
We are not well. Right.
Wow.
And so part of that painful process is the shedding of all the identities that come along with those wrong messages, the people pleasing, right? The being self-sacrificing, the self-abandonment, right? Like shedding those identities, which will ultimately lead to you shedding people who benefit
That's right.
from those identities, right? Like there's a lot of the less, the letting go, the shedding, there's a lot that comes with that. And I think a lot of people, that's part of the heart. That's the work, right? That is the work, is saying, I have to choose myself,
That's
my
right.
health, my well being above all else.
As Black women, we have everyday stressors, and those stressors are compounded by systemic racism. This stress weathers our mental and emotional health. It's imperative to move this stress out of our bodies so we can live healthier and happier lives. Exhale app is a resource to partner with you in your well-being journey. To download, go to the App Store and Google Play. Now, let's get back to our episode.
That's so hard for us to do. I mean, I
So
talk
hard.
about that with my clients. How and I ask them this question, what does it look like to center yourself in your life?
Hmm.
What does it look like to prioritize you above everything and everyone else? And I mean,
They don't know
the
how.
the pushback is just like, what do you mean? I mean, because it goes against the conditioning, like what we've been conditioned
Yeah.
to do and how we're supposed to be. It's like,
It's wild. It is, I mean, it is the most beautiful, painful excavation process ever. One of the words that because I also had to like deconstruct all these words and themes, and like there were all these things that once you start digging, like any, excavation site, you're like, oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, look at that. Right. And so one of the words for me was selfish. And I think it aligns with exactly what you just said. Like, I received a lot of wrong messages about selfishness, right? Calling me selfish, there was a time, there was a version of me that calling me selfish would have literally crushed me. I would have literally argued with you. I am not selfish. Don't call me that. Nah, 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 right? Now, hmm, like, really? You think I am? I did a good job. I'm being selfish right now. Thank you. But it took work getting there, right? And a part of that work for me was really understanding what that word even meant, right? Like going to the dictionary and saying, like, okay, what is like, let me just look this up. And I came across in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. This definition is so unbelievable. I remember my editor saying, um, "Can you send me a screenshot?" Like, they didn't even wanna put it in the book unless, because I was like, "I came across," and they were like, "Girl, send us a
We need to
screenshot. There's
verify
no
this.
way." Yeah, and so the definition was being chiefly concerned with one's own profit and pleasure. I'm sorry, what? Chiefly concerned with one's own profit and pleasure, not only concerned, which is what we've been led to believe selfish is, right? It's saying it's exactly what they're telling us on the airplane. Put your own mask on first before helping others, right? Also understanding that when we talk about self-care, that is selfishness. When we talk about self-preservation, that is selfishness. But for some reason, we hear that word selfish and it is like a dagger to the heart because we have received wrong messages
That's right.
about what it means to be selfish. And there is no way that you can be well and not be a little selfish. There's just no way.
Mm,
You got to learn how to do it. You got to learn how to do it.
that's amazing. That definition is
Isn't it beautiful?
chiefly
Chiefly concerned with your own
concerned.
profit and pleasure. And there were moments, because again, you start this excavation and then you have to apply what you learn. And I would literally have to say to myself, because oftentimes our overwhelm is we're inserting ourselves. That was another thing that I had to recognize. Someone comes to me and they're like, the example I like to use is a stamp. They're like, "Oh man, I really need a stamp." They didn't ask me for a stamp. They're just making a statement. Here I am. "Oh, I have a stamp. You need a stamp? I have a stamp right now. Here I am inserting myself." "Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was just going to run this to the post office." "Oh my goodness. I'm going by the post office." I'll do it, girl. Right? Like sometimes that overwhelm is us inserting ourselves. "Oh, I know, girl." And so I would literally, once this excavation hurt my expletive feelings, I could recognize all the different areas in my life where I was doing the most and really needed to be doing less. And one of the things I would say to myself is I would, "Girl, be chiefly concerned with yourself."
Be chiefly
Girl, I would
concerned.
literally have to say, "They didn't ask for your help. Be chiefly concerned with yourself." And people figure it out, you know,
People
but,
figure it
they
out.
figure it out. They weren't even expecting me to have a stamp. They were just making a statement, right? And so there's all these little things, and over time, this becomes your daily practice. This becomes your ritual and routines, right? This becomes just a part of your everyday life, which is, by the way, how we were meant to live, right? Like indigenous, this, what I'm saying, there's nothing new and profound or, like I did not
Mm,
invent any of this, right? Like this is indigenous wisdom that used to be passed down generationally,
that's right.
right?
Mhm, mhm.
And then we got to a place in society again where everything became commodified, everything became outsourced. So we stopped looking within, right? We stopped listening, we stopped being intuitive, and we outsourced everything that I just told you.
So powerful. Y'all need to get this book. Y'all need to get this book, Less is Liberation, because I think you're right. Like as you've been talking, I keep thinking about liberation, liberation, liberation. And we talk about liberation. We want to be free, but we have to pull back and prioritize ourselves to be free,
Yeah,
to
we have to.
experience liberation. It means saying no. It means prioritizing ourselves.
But Qatar, we're not even taught about personal liberation. Everything is collective liberation, right? Which is its own wrong messaging at times, right? I am supposed to be self sacrificing for the collective. And one of the things that I'm saying is, no, I want you to focus on your personal liberation so that you are well, so you are not out here tainting the collective and making other people in the collective unwell because you didn't handle what you needed to handle, right? We have to learn how to prioritize our
That's
personal
right.
liberation for collective liberation. The collective is never going to be free unless we ourselves do the work to take care of our own well being. It's not going to happen. And this, again, is indigenous wisdom. I was at a
Wow.
retreat and wonderful. It was in Troutbeck, New York. And, it's an indigenous woman there. We were all having this Lessons of Liberation was about to come out. So we were all having this conversation. And shout out to Fairty Brand. They bring together leaders from all over the country once a year for this retreat. And it is just magical. So we're having this discussion about liberation. And, I say exactly what I just said. I said, yeah, like when I talk about personal liberation, everyone, there are people that are like, I mean, well, we got to focus on collective liberation. And I'm like, but don't you think, don't you think that we ourselves need to really have embodied that freedom and wellness that we're talking about? And she said, oh, yeah, that's like a core tenet of our beliefs. Like you can't be sick and trying to help the collective because they're going to get sick. You're going to get someone else sick. They were fine till here you come along with your little sick self trying to help,
Trying to help.
trying to help because you've
Trying to
been taught I
help.
can't be selfish. I can't, you know, focus on, I know I'm unwell, but
Wow.
isn't it so wild? And it's just like these are, and intuitively, and it's so funny because when I've had these discussions all the time, and we always it's always the same reaction. There is nothing that I'm saying that is new and profound or right, but you're like, "Yep,
Yeah.
duh."
Yeah. And
That's
it
so
it it
wild.
has me thinking about, again, oppressive systems that have caused us, like, we're in this state because it did what it was intended to do, right? Get us to disconnect from ourselves, get us to overwork, to be unwell mentally, emotionally, physically. And then we're trying to still help the collective, but that's not really helping the collective. Like
Yep.
it's potentially harming the collective. And it's like it's working as it's intended.
Working as intended. It's so systemic. It
Mm-hmm.
is unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't even have to get into the conversation about capitalism. It
Right.
is systemic within our homes. It is systemic within our communities. It is systemic within the very places in which we live and love. We don't even, by the time we get to work, it is already embodied.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Right.
so it is really up to us when we talk about getting free. This is the work of getting free. The dismantling first of the wrong messaging and systems within yourself, right? And then moving outside of that. Now let me tackle the wrong messaging and systems within my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Now let me tackle the wrong messaging and systems within my community. Now let me tackle the wrong systems and messaging within these greater institutions, right? Like most people are not even equipped to do the work that they're doing. And I'm saying this, excuse me, my past career, I served as a leader in the anti racism space. I fought the good fight for many, many years. That was the crux of my work. working in the environmental space, right? Like working in these really systemic injustice spaces.
Sure.
And so many of us were unwell. I can
Mhm.
look back now,
Mm.
right? And we did good work. I'm proud of the work that we did, but it came at a cost, right?
Sure.
And I am one of the lucky ones, right? I
Mhm.
didn't have the heart attack. I didn't have the stroke. I didn't go through some of the things that my colleagues, some of them who are unfortunately not here, went through, right? And like that is what happens when we don't center personal liberation for
That's right.
collective liberation. That's the conversation.
That's right. And
Yeah.
if you think about, like, what we're able to do, like, you talk about the good work that you did, and your wells were
Dry.
empty or dry or on E,
Dry. Yeah.
and you still did good work. What would happen? What could happen in our worlds if we were well,
Doing this work.
doing the work?
I
And
think
then
about
I was well, you were well, she was well, they were well, and we came together.
Could you imagine?
A new
I think
world.
about
A
I
new
think about it
world
every
would be birthed.
I think about it every day. And I feel like as hard as it is, we are in a tough season as a country, as a society right now. I get it. But there's a part of me that is really grateful that all of these systems, all of these structures, all of these institutions and beliefs that we had are crumbling, right? And you are seeing more women in particular prioritizing their health and wellness over capitalism, right?
Yes.
I have spoken to so many women that are part of that 300,000 plus that are unemployed that are like, you know what? That first month, it did freak me out. I was looking for a job, the first 3 months and then they were like, but I realized I got a nice little settlement. Girl went and brought me a farm. Girl, me and my family are traveling. Like you are seeing women saying enough,
Mhm.
right? You are seeing people, the pandemic, excuse me, also played a role in this, right? Because the pandemic forced us to slow down. The pandemic forced people to work from home, right? And when society opened back up, and they were like, there is no way in the world I'm commuting 2 hours every day ever again, right? I
Right.
would rather take a different job. Like so those are these small acts of liberation that people are taking to get well. And I do believe that more people, whether they're doing it knowingly or unknowingly, by these
Yeah.
small acts and decisions that they're making daily, are on a path to wellness. And I do think that the time is going to come that those of us, when it is time for the collective work to happen, more of us are going to be well than ever before. And we are going to be able to do great things. I
Yeah.
truly, truly, truly believe that.
I love that. I love that. It just really, for me, and the work that I do, this conversation is it just is confirming of the way I'm choosing to move, the way I'm choosing to
Mhm.
show up, what I'm encouraging, Black women to do and how to show up. It just is like, yes, because this is liberation. This
The work
is
you're doing is so important. I
thank you.
don't I don't think people fully understand how important it is to have someone alongside you, coaching you, guiding you through this. There is no way
Yeah.
I would have made it through my liberation journey without a full team of friends and professionals. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, because this is hard.
Yeah.
We're talking about 49 years of conditioning,
That's right.
right? 49 years of thinking I'm doing something the right way because look at me, I am successful, right? And
Right.
having to dismantle and just untangle myself from all of those identities, beliefs, behaviors. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we don't even have enough time to talk about the forgiveness that has to happen, the forgiving yourself, the forgiving others, the grandmothers, the churches, that like all of these things that have, there is, I'm not saying you can't do it by yourself, but you don't
Yeah.
have to, right? Like there goes
No.
that hyper independence piece that is like,
Right,
I can
right.
do it. I don't need, no, get like read the book with a friend, right? I have folks that
Mm.
are reading it with siblings because a lot of y'all grew
Mm.
up with the same conditioning and suffer from the same afflictions. That's what I would call, I would like, my people pleasing is an affliction. I had to like
Mm.
name it, right? Like what is this really? A lot of siblings that grew up have the same afflictions or they have different afflictions and resentment, right? Because well, I was the oldest and I had to do this and you were the youngest, right?
Mm.
So I have a lot of siblings that read the book together. I have friends that read the book together. And it's great to be able to say, "Oh my gosh, like I see myself. Oh my goodness, I see you. Hold me accountable."
Mm.
Right? Girl, when you see me out here not being chiefly concerned, and we do it, and it makes the work lighter and easier, right? And so I
Yeah.
just, as someone who is on the other side of an unbelievable liberating life journey, I want to thank you and any other coaches who are
Yeah.
listening for the work that you do to really guide people through this process because it is the most important work that I
Thank
have
you.
ever done and will ever do in my life, and I could not have done it without
Yeah.
support.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
You're
And
welcome.
I mean, and that's, why I created Exhale as a resource is sometimes like you can have those people and if you can have your folks to help you move through all of the excavating that needs to happen. But also I created Exhale to be on your phone, in your back
Mhm,
pocket, in your purse. You can pull it
mhm.
out. We have an
Oh, I have.
animated.
I have. I have watched that circle go around, girl, me doing my breath. Yes,
That's
I
right.
have, right? And
Yeah.
I think and that's why that is such an important resource, right? Because yeah, if I'm having a moment at 2 AM, 3 AM, I can't call my coach. I can't call my friend. I can't, right? But I can pull out that app and I can calm my nervous system and bring my
Right.
blood pressure down just
That's
with
right.
my breath. I
That's
can
right.
listen, I can read, right? Like, so there
Yes.
is, we're not outsourcing, right? Like, there is this, we are working alongside. And
That's
I
right.
think that's the difference, right? Like, that's the difference with
That's right.
having a beautiful team and a coach that can really, it's like
Yeah.
I am like the coach running beside you on the track,
That's
right?
right.
It's not, "Here, let me give this to you, and then you tell me what I'm supposed to do." It's like, "No,
Right.
girl. I'm here to say, keep
Keep
going.
going.
Turn
Yeah.
left,
That's
turn
right.
right," right? But the decision is ultimately ours, and I do think, Katara, that we just give away our agency too easily. Like, when I look at the decisions that I have made over my lifetime, and again, I talk about this less. There is this grief, there is this loss, there is this acknowledgement of those years that you can't get back, of the beautiful work that you did for other people in organizations that there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like there is this grieving
Mm.
process that has to happen. And I think that too is a part of the excavation of our personal wells, right? Like we want to just it's behind me.
So
It's
good.
like, no, like go ahead and grieve
Mm.
that, right? Grieve that giving up all those stamps I gave up and all those walks to the post office, girl. Listen, right? Because if we don't grieve, we have
Yeah.
resentment and that sits in a whole different part of
Mm.
ourselves and it's impossible to embody liberation and
Yeah.
resentment.
Mm. So good. Such a great conversation. As we close today, which I don't want to, I'm like, I could keep I could talk and talk and talk and talk about this. This has been such a beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
But as we close, I have one question I like to ask
Yeah.
all of my guests. It's actually a fill in the blank.
Okay.
Um, the phrase is simple, but the answers are always so powerful. When Black women exhale, fill in the blank, how would you complete that sentence?
Oh, makes me emotional.
Mm,
You know, in the book, actually wrote love letters to Black women.
mm, mm,
The book is for everyone, just like Afro Minimalist is for everyone. But in the same way, there are just certain things that are unique to Black women and their lived experience. And I don't know anyone who is more overwhelmed than Black. When Black women exhale, when we do that excavation work, when we embody who we are, we not only have the ability to change our own lives, but we have the ability to change the lives of those around us and ultimately the world. We understand that's not our responsibility, but it literally happens by merely existing, right? And what we have to excavate and what we have to dismantle and what we have to dig through, the generations of cultural wrong messaging. I mean, the lightness, the joy, the ease, the even abundance that comes, right? When we are able to exhale in that way, that is the black girl magic that we talk about. That's that real black girl magic. And I want liberation for everyone, obviously, but I really want it for black women
yeah.
because we is from what I know, my own lived experiences and those around me, we are the least free people on this planet. And we have the ability to change that.
Mm, thank you so much. How can that was beautiful. I'm over here tearing up. How can
How
we
can we
support you?
support you? My goodness. Get the book. I mean, I really, and if you, I mean, even if you can't buy the book, get it at your library. You know what I mean? There are organizations that are hosting community gatherings around this book. I mean, like it really is, I believe, the anchor point of this liberation journey that we're talking about, especially in terms of collective liberation. If you're able to bring me to your workplace, bring me to your workplace. I've been doing a lot of conversations. A lot of organizations are reading this book, which is so surprising because I did not think of it in that way when I was writing it. But it's been beautiful to know that this has been like all office reads and the conversations that have come from that and the internal systems that have changed because of I mean, like it's really special. And so any way that you can do this type of personal liberation work, that is how you can support me, right? Again, even if you can't buy the book, Go to the library, get a copy, start this work, and I promise you, you will have no regrets. I promise.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
being on the
you.
show. I hope that, the rest of your day and into the weekend, you get to take really deep, deep exhales.
I
And,
will.
yeah, thank you for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me. So appreciate you and the work that you do.
Thanks for tuning in to Ready to Exhale. Until next time, may you find moments to pause and exhale.